So hello and welcome to the another e-learning session, that is systemic mycosis. So let us start with systemic mycosis first. Uh, Systemic mycosis, first of all, as the name suggests, they involve multiple organs. Mostly they are caused by the saprophytic fungi, uh, which spreads by inhalation of spores leading to pulmonary infection. From lungs, they disseminate to cause various systemic manifestation. So this is about the systemic mycosis. Here is the list of the fungus that can cause this type of infection. The first and very important and can be asked as a separate short note, that is histoplasmosis. Then another is blastomycosis. The third is coccidioidomycosis, and the fourth is paracoccidioidomycosis. The first is histoplasmosis. Histoplasmosis is a systemic granulomatous disease which is caused by the dimorphic fungus that is called Histoplasma capsulatum. This species' name is Minsomar as it is not capsulated. It is also called the Darling's disease. It has three varieties, but among these three, the very important and most common is Histoplasma capsulatum that can cause classical histoplasmosis. Now the infection is transmitted by the inhalation of the spores, which usually circulate in the air after the contaminated soil disturbed. After the spores enter into the lung, they are engulfed inside the alveolar macrophage. Then they transform into the yeast form. The yeast survive within the phagolysosome of the macrophage by producing the alkaline substance like bicarbonate and ammonia. Then the intracellular yeast travel into the lymph nodes and spread to the other parts of body through the bloodstream. When the patient having a strong CMI, within the 2 week granulomas are formed which later get healed with fibrosis and calcification. Unlike the latent TB, histoplasmosis once healed, they are rarely reactivates. While when the patient having impaired CMI, the disseminated infection sets in. So this was all about the pathogenesis of the histoplasmosis. Now the clinical manifestation. Clinically, the classic histoplasmosis ranges from asymptomatic to the life-threatening. Where there is a immunocompetent people, there is mostly a asymptomatic infection will occur, while the patient having a low CMI, there is a life-threatening illness which is seen in the people. So there is a various clinical types which include the first and very important and most common is pulmonary histoplasmosis, that having a chronic as well as acute form. In acute form, patients come with mild flu-like illness, pulmonary infiltrates in chest X-ray with mediastinal lymphadenopathy. While in chronic cavitary histoplasmosis, which is mostly seen in smokers with underlying structural lung disease. Sorry. Then other clinical types are mucocutaneous histoplasmosis, where skin and oral mucosal lesions may develop secondary to pulmonary infection. Oral lesions are particularly seen in Indian patients. Here you can see the oral lesions. Then disseminated histoplasmosis, which develops into a low CMI, mostly like patients with HIV or patient following organ transplantation. They are most prone to this type of histoplasmosis. The common sites affected are bone marrow, spleen, liver, eyes, and adrenal glands. Now the lab diagnosis, where you can use specimens like sputum, aspirate from bone marrow and lymph node. Blood and biopsies are from skin and mucosa. Then you can do the direct microscopy where you need a histopathological staining like PAS stain, GIMSA stain or GMS stain. Here the specimen reveals the tiny oval yeast cells with narrow based budding within the macrophage with an underlying granulomatous response. Here you can see the yeast forms. This is it. They are the tiny oval yeast cells which measuring 2 to 4 micrometer in size. In the culture, it is a gold standard method of the diagnosis. Specimen should be inoculated into a media such as SDA or blood agar or brain heart infusion agar, where you can do the duplicate the set and you are going to incubate it at 25 degrees Celsius at 37 degrees Celsius because it is a dimorphic fungus. At 25 degrees Celsius, there is a mycelial phase is there where produces white to buff color colonies that consist of two types of conidia of spores. One is tuberculate macroconidia, which is a specific characteristic feature of this fungus. Here you can see the macroconidia with thick wall and there is a finger-like projection. Then another is microconidia, which is a smaller, thin and smooth walled. At 37 degrees Celsius, they produces the yeast form, which get converted into this yeast form, and they develop special media like Kelly's media, where you can see the creamy white colonies. So here is the picture of macroconidia, which is a specific characteristic feature where you can see this projection, finger-like projection, and thick wall macroconidia. And you can also do the other test like serology first, where you can use the antibodies. The principle of the test is CFT and immunodiffusion. Antibodies appear after 1 month of infection, hence they are more useful in chronic stages, but are more often negative in early course and disseminated stage. Where there is a false positive result may occur due to past infection or cross infection with blastomyces. You can also do the skin test to demonstrate delayed type of hypersensitivity, or you can also use the molecular test like PCR. So this is all about the histoplasmosis. Then we will move forward to the blastomycosis. Blastomycosis is also known as North American blastomycosis. This infection is caused by the dimorphic fungus that is called Blastomyces dermatitidis, where pathogenesis of this infection is this infection is transmitted by the conidia. The spores enter into the lung and they are engulfed by the alveolar macrophage, where they get converted into the yeast phase. This yeast expresses the glycoprotein called BAD1. BAD means Blastomyces dermatitidis adhesine 1, which is an essential virulence factor and also a major inducer of cellular and humoral immune response. So this is about the pathogenesis. Now the clinical manifestation. There are two forms of this blastomycosis. The first and important is acute pulmonary blastomycosis, which is the most common form, or there is an extrapulmonary manifestation is also there, where you can see the involvement of the many organs. Like first is skin. Skin involvement is the most common extrapulmonary form, which is characterized by either varicosis, which is common, or ulcerative type of skin lesion. Also there is a osteomyelitis is there, which may develop along with the contagious soft tissue abscess and draining sinuses. There is a prostate and epididymis involvement, mostly seen in a man. Then there is a CNS involvement is also there, which is reported into almost 40% of the AIDS patient. And the brain abscess is the usual presentation, which is followed by the cranial or the spinal epidural abscess and meningitis. Then lab diagnosis. The first important is histopathological staining of the tissue biopsy specimen, which reveals thick-walled round yeast cells of 8 to 15 microliter in size with a single broad-based budding 8-shaped. Here is the picture of this yeast cells, where you can see this. This is the 8-shaped budding yeast. That. And the culture. For that, you need a culture media like SDA or the blood agar or BH agar, inoculated at 25 degrees Celsius at that mycelial form that containing hyphae with smaller pear-shaped conidia which are produced, where at 37 degrees Celsius there is a mold to yeast conversion take place. You can also do the skin test, which is for demonstration of delayed type hypersensitivity. There is also antibody detection with the help of immunodiffusion. There is a antigen detection is also there, where you can use the urine, which is more sensitive, or you can also use the serum, which is commercially available. Then the molecular methods, that is RT-PCR, is there. So these were all about the blastomycosis. Then the third and important is coccidioidomycosis. This is also called as desert rheumatism or the valley fever. This infection can be done by the Coccidioides immitis and Coccidioides pasadesi. So these two are the species of this genus, and the important one is Coccidioides immitis. Then the pathogenesis. This infection is transmitted by the inhalation of the arthroconidia. In lungs, they enlarge, become rounded, and develop the internal septations to form large sac-like structure that is called the spherules, where it having a numerous endospores. This may rupture and release packets of the endospore that can disseminate and develop into a new spherules. If returned to the artificial media or the soil, spherules are revert back to the mycelial stage. Then the clinical manifestation is also there. The most patient, almost 60% of the patients are asymptomatic. The most common form of this type of infection is pulmonary form, which present as pneumonia, cavities, pleural effusion, or nodule formation. Then there is also a skin involvement is also there, where you can, when patient comes with a skin lesion such as rashes or erythema nodosum or arthritis with joint pain may appear secondary to pulmonary infection. Then there is a disseminated form is also there, where patient with low immunity like HIV patients with less than 250 per microliter CD4 plus T cell count are at higher risk. Common sites for dissemination include skin, bone, joints, soft tissue, and meninges. Then the lab diagnosis. For that, you need a histopathological staining like H&E stain, PAS stain, or GMC. The sample is sputum or tissue biopsy specimen which demonstrate the spherules. So this is the spherules. And the stain, here the stain is PAS stain. This spherules are the large sac-like structure that having a thick double refractile wall, and they are filled with numerous endospores, where you can see in this picture. And the culture, you need a SDF for that. This culture, as because it having a accidental inhalation of the spores, they are the highly infectious. So you need a biosafety level 3 type of precaution. you need a SDA for the culture, where you can see the mycelial growth, which described as fragmented hyphae that is consistent of barrel shaped arthroscope. Barrel shaped arthrospores. So you can see in this picture the arthroconidia, which is a barrel shape like this. It differs from the other dimorphic fungus because this is not a dimorphic fungi. On the 25 degrees Celsius and 37 degrees Celsius, this fungus is in a mold form at both this temperature. This is how this fungus is differ from the other dimorphic fungus. So this is about the coccidioidomycosis. Now we will move forward to the paracoccidioidomycosis. This is also called as South American blastomycosis. The infection is caused by the Paracoccidioides brasiliensis, which is a dimorphic fungus. Transmission is done through a inhalation of the spores of the fungus, and the pathogenesis and clinical manifestation. Infection occurs into two major forms. One is acute form and other is chronic form. Acute form affects the young adults under 30 years of age, and which is less common variety but more severe form, which manifests as disseminated infection, which involving multiple viscera and refractory to treatment. Then another form is chronic form or adult form, which accounts for 90% of the cases and predominantly affects the older men. It results from the reactivation of the lung lesion. It is less severe form, manifests as the progressive pulmonary disease, which affecting lower lobes with fibrosis. There is also a skin oral mucosal lesion and cervical lymphadenopathy are the other features of this chronic form. Then the lab diagnosis, for that you need a H&E stain, histopathological staining, where the sample is pus, tissue biopsy, or sputum, which reveals the round, thick walled yeast with multiple narrow naked buds, which rise to Mickey Mouse or the pilot wheel appearance, which is a characteristic feature of this fungus. You can also do the culture on SDA, which yields mycelial form at 25 degrees Celsius, which converted into a yeast form at 37 degrees Celsius, because it is a dimorphic fungus. When grown in BHI with supplement of blood and glutamine. Here you can see the yeast form with a typical pilot wheel appearance. This is the pilot wheel appearance, and this is the Mickey Mouse appearance of the yeast form. So this was all about the systemic fungus, where the most important and the frequently asked question is histoplasmosis. This can be asked as a whole systemic mycosis question, but the histoplasmosis is important. I hope you can like it. Thank you very much for the listening.